What's going on, Pod Squad? It is about 6:50 p.m. on Monday evening, September 28th. But I'm probably not going to upload this until tomorrow. So when you hear it, today should be Tuesday, September 29th. Again, even recording this tonight and you guys hearing it tomorrow, I pray that you all wake up with the intentions to be great, to be positive, to be happy, to be fearless. Remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that you are the heir of God's throne, that you have a seat at the table, that you are part of his kingdom, and just be ready to have an amazing day. One of the things that I wanted to speak to you about today is the spirit of fear or old baggage, not taking old baggage with you into your new season. One of the things that God has been dealing with me on and, revealing to me, myself also, oftentimes, and I'm pretty sure maybe you can relate, that whenever we feel like life is happening or we're in a bad situation, whether that's personal, finances, work, marriage, business, whatever, we tend to want God and pray to God to fix the situation. And there are times that many of us have gotten spoiled and too comfortable with God only giving blessings on credit. We want the tangible things. But there are times in your life and times in your seasons and times in your walk with God that he will strengthen you and require you to be a more mature Christian, meaning that he wants to fix you, fix the inside of you before the outside is fixed. And we like to have, because God is too good to give you the blessings that he has promised you and you not have the mindset, you not have the heart, you not have the spirit, the capacity to hold it and not be able to sustain the very thing that was supposed to be a great thing for you. And too often we look for a quick fix. We want God to fix it now, fix it quick, fix it when I wake up tomorrow, everything's going to be fine. Take this away from me. And a lot of things, believe it or not, are deeply rooted in us. Some of us were, things we were born into. Some of the things are generational. Some of the things we've just picked up, for whatever reason that may be. But fear, anything that is not of God, lust, porn, anxiety, depression, double-mindedness, any of that, anything that is not of God, those things begin to get deeply rooted. And what makes the roots grow even deeper are us having these issues and not getting to the root of it. Only, just slapping a Band-Aid on it and doing a quick fix, a temporary fix. And anything that is not uprooted, especially when it has become deeply rooted, will just go with us into our new seasons. And one thing that God just spoke to me about, I just got finished watching a sermon on YouTube. You guys know I fall down those rabbit holes. I love them. How often, maybe you're thinking like this now, your 2020 sucked, COVID, we got Corona, we got the world pandemic, the global shutdown, everything going on, and you're just ready to walk into 2021. Like January 2021, I'm going to get right. My life is going to be so better. I'm ready to leave 2020 behind. But believe it or not, I too used to fall victim to this, so I'm also speaking from experience. When we don't deal with things on the inside and actually things that have become deeply rooted, believe it or not, those things follow us into our next year. They follow us into our next season. They follow us into the very things that we're, looking to God to deliver us from, but we haven't allowed him the time to deal with the issues that we have. And I just want to encourage you, if this is you, spend that time with God. Find out. So many of us are afraid of self-awareness and self-checking. When's the last time you did a self-assessment of yourself? And so many of us are afraid of what we might see. I overheard a message of a man it was a gay man. And, I'm not judging or anything, but I just want you guys to hear, what my point of this with the story. He was just saying, he was just at a point of his life where it seemed like just his life was hell. Things were just so hard for him. He was struggling. And anytime he asked friends or those around him for encouragement, he came across one friend that started encouraging him or suggesting that he read the Bible. Like, when is the last time you read the Bible? And this man actually admitted that he was afraid to read the Bible because he knew it would change him. And that just touched my heart in a way, because so many people are afraid to pick up the Bible and read the word of God because they do fear that change. They do fear, like, I know my life is going to have to be right. But why have we gotten to a point where we're so afraid to change and we're so afraid to grow and we're so afraid to deal with ourselves? Because if we don't deal with the things that have hindered us, the things that have caused us to stumble, the things that keep us stagnant, the things that keep us complacent, and God didn't create us for that. We're not just supposed to be comfortable in lack and comfortable in poverty and comfortable with just being comfortable and not progressing or evolving in life. When do we get to a point where we're ready to take on a challenge and the necessary time to deal with the things that bother us, deal with the things that confuse us, deal with the things that scare us, deal with the things about us that we don't like, or even deal with the things that we're not even aware of that hinder us? And I want to encourage you. It all starts with, that self-awareness. Pick up your Bible, talk to God. God, what is in me that's holding me back? What makes me think like this? What makes me react the way I react? What makes me go from 0 to 100? What makes me speak to people the way I do? What makes me, why do I have this petty spirit? All of those things. I know we laugh and joke about it, but all of us should be getting to a point of our lives where we want to be better. We want to talk better. We want to do better. Because if we don't deal with the things that are our own insecurities or flaws, or the things that don't look like God, or the things that displease God, that stuff sticks with us. And believe it or not, that's not cute. And I'm not saying this again to condemn or to judge, because I too have had to deal with this. So I'm only speaking from experience. If I want to be better, I have to do better. In order to do better, I have to know what's causing me to not become better. What's causing me to stumble? What's causing me to fail? What's causing me to keep recycling old experiences? And if you're listening to this, I want to encourage you. Ask God to do self-awareness, self-reflection. Do a self-check. Take self-inventory. Find out what things hinder you. Find out what things scare you. Find out what things are holding you down and weighing you down. Because life is going to keep happening. Seasons are going to keep being approached. But if we don't take the time and deal with things that either we don't like, or the things that we know we're not happy with ourselves about, or just the things that we're willing to face that we're not even aware of, those things are going to go with you into 2021. How many of you listening, when, 2004 was here, and you're like 2005, I'm going to be better. 2009 was here. Oh, come 2010, this is my year. I'm going to be better. 2019 was here. Oh, come 2020, this is my year. I'm going to be better. And how many of you feel like you've recycled your years? The only thing that has changed is the number of the year. The only thing that has changed is the new year. I was guilty of it. January 1st, everybody hashtagging on social media, new year, new me. But is it really a new you? Or is it new year, same you? I'm guilty of this too. 2020, I have learned more about myself this year than in the 40 years I've been alive. One, because God called me and, took me through a lot. But two, because I allowed him to deal with me. I allowed him to take inventory of my heart. I allowed him to search my heart, to cleanse my heart, to test my heart, to make me a clean and pure heart. I had to get to a point where I was ready for a change. I got tired of feeling the way I was feeling. I got tired of feeling stuck. Sooner or later, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I know that may sound cliche and you hear it a lot, but when will you become tired of the same old thing? I don't want to keep being the same me. If you are the same you that you were 5 years ago, that used to be me. I felt sorry for myself. Year after year, I was the same. Year after year, I was doing the same things. I wasn't evolving. I wasn't challenging myself. I wasn't progressing. I was just complacent, just getting by, just keeping my head above water. I didn't want more. I didn't want better. I was just fine where I was at. But when do you get to a point where you're like, self? I want more out of life. I want what God has for me. I want to be the person that God created me to be. I want to meet that person. God, who do you say I am? And too often we're carrying old baggage, not even into New Year's. We're carrying old baggage into new seasons. We're carrying old baggage into new relationships, new opportunities, walking through new doors with the same old habits, the old mindset, our old ways, our ways of thinking. And it becomes toxic. And we don't like to be called out on our own mess. That's why it's called self-assessment. That's why it's called self-inventory. That's why it's called self-reflection. I know I got to the point where I didn't like the woman I saw that looked back at me when I looked in the mirror. I didn't like what I saw. I was ashamed. I wasn't happy. I was dark. I was heavy. So much was weighing me down. And I knew something had to change if I wanted to get out of that situation, if I wanted to be better. And like I said, I've learned so much about myself just this year in 2020. Things I knew that were hindering me, things I knew that were my insecurities and certain flaws. And then I learned about things that have been, stubborn ways that have been in my heart, or certain flaws or things that didn't look like God that were in my heart, certain spirits that just sat in my heart that was not of God. Things that I've brought with me, pain since I was a little girl that was still in my heart. Would have never known this if I didn't take the time to allow God to cultivate me and self-reflect. And, He doesn't do it to condemn you. God is not of condemnation. He will convict you, but it's like, hey, you're dealing with this here. You got this unforgiveness in your heart that we need to fix. You got this bitterness in your heart that we need to fix. God isn't just going to feel it, stick a Band-Aid on it and send you on about your way. No, He desires to get to the root of the problem. But too often we don't want to face the root of the problem. We don't want to see how ugly it is. We don't want to see how dark it is. We don't want to see how bad it smells. But that's what God desires. He's stronger in our weaknesses. When He told Lazarus to come forth, the first thing He told him was roll the stone away. And his sister said, but Lord, it stinks. He's been here for 4 days. The smell is going to be horrible. Jesus didn't care. And I want to let you know, someone needs to know Jesus doesn't care how bad you stink. He doesn't care how much mess you've gotten in, how much trouble you've gotten yourself in, how long you've been running from Him, how much you're holding on to, how much unforgiveness and bitterness and guilt and shame and pride and depression and anxiety and lust and adultery and idolatry. He doesn't care about all of that you're holding, because He knew that about you. He knew the issues that you would have. He knew the flaws that you would have. He knew how silly you would be. He knew how unstable you would be. And He still hasn't changed His mind about you. But He desires to set you free from those things. And too often we're walking around in chains. We're in self-bondage because we refuse to do the work, the self-inventory, to check ourselves to see what's holding us back. You can't fly higher. You can't soar higher carrying dead weight. You can't climb with your hands in your pocket. And if this is you that I'm speaking to, I encourage you to allow God to come inside your heart, to cross-examine your heart, to search your heart, to cleanse your heart, to test your heart, to change your heart. Yes, God will change your heart when He deals with it. You will be the best you have ever been. You will be the you that God always created you to be, the you that He intended for you to be. You will be able to walk into your purpose and walk with your head held high, your shoulders back. The things that used to rob you of your peace and joy no longer do. The things that used to just make you down spiraling your day no longer does. The things that you used to dwell into with negativity, now you know how to look at it from a different perspective and be positive. Now you know how to let your happiness and your joy and your peace and positivity rub off on someone else. All the things that you used to do that didn't look like God will suddenly look like it changes. No, it doesn't happen overnight. Yes, it's a process. It's a gradual process. But I want to encourage you to don't go into 2021 saying new year, new me. We have pretty much 90 days left of this year. Like it's about to be October 1st, Thursday, if I'm not mistaken? 90 days left of the year. We've already had a wild, crazy, chaotic, unpredictable, unexpected year. But the year isn't over yet. Allow God to deal with you. Deal with yourself. Deal with the things that you're unhappy about. Deal with the things that you're embarrassed about. The things that you're ashamed about. The things that you don't want nobody to know about. Because if you don't deal with, and you can't fix these things yourself. Only God can do that. If you fix it, it's going to be a quick temporary fix. And I guarantee you, it's going to surface again. If not at the beginning of 2021, it will arise again. Because you haven't gotten to the root of the problem. Stop looking for a quick fix and allow God to work. Allow God to work on your behalf. Allow him to give you that heart transplant. I'm not saying it's going to be pretty. It probably is going to smell. I know mine's, it did. It smelled horrible. But I feel so much better. I feel like God can look at me now and he be happy with my heart when he sees it. He's pleased with my heart. He's pleased with what he sees. Because I allowed him to come inside and do the necessary changes and altercations and the cutting and the pruning and the crushing and the molding. Again, I dealt with things that I've always known about, and I also had to face and deal with the things that I knew nothing about. So when I walk into 2021, it will be a new year, new me. When I'm walking into these last 90 days of 2020, it already is a new me. And it's still becoming a new me. I'm becoming. Don't carry around your old baggage into the new year. Don't carry your old baggage into new opportunities and try and take that luggage walking with you through new doors. You will repeat the same cycles over and over and over. And we wonder why we can't catch a break. Because you haven't changed. You may look like you've changed on the outside. Okay, you got some new hair, new look. But what does your heart look like? You cleaned up well on the outside, but I want to encourage you to clean it up on the inside. Clean up your spirit. Clean up your mind. Clean up your heart. And no, God isn't expecting you to do this on your own. Come to him and allow him the time to have a proper assessment. The Holy Spirit to come in and search your whole inner being. And allow God to cross-examine your heart, reveal those things so you can acknowledge those things and then give those things to him so he can feel it. So your heart can beat like his, so your heart can love like his, so your heart can look like his. I don't want to go into my next season with old baggage. I had to release that baggage. I had to stand over a tomb of everything that I've once known, everything that I've once cared about, everything that I was so used to and so comfortable with. Everything that I wanted to take with me. And God told me, if you want to follow me, if you want the things that I promised you, if you want to be better, if you want to go from glory to glory, if you want to walk into your promised land, you got to leave this stuff right here. And I had to deal with that. That 4-year-old girl that was upset about her father not being in her life, I had to put death to her because she followed me into my adulthood. She was affecting the way I trusted or didn't trust. She was affecting the way I would think. She was affecting the way I handled life, the way I dealt with things. I had to put death to that 4-year-old girl. I had to die to myself, die to flesh in order to say yes with God and be born again and stand over that grave and look at everything that I once knew and unlearn all of that. And walk with God with an open mind and a heart for him to come inside and teach me new ways, teach me his ways. Allow him to reveal new things with me. One of the best decisions, I will actually say the best decision that I've ever made in my life. Sometimes it didn't feel like that during the process, during the transition. But now that I've come out on the other side, I wouldn't change it for the world. This is me. This is the new me. This is the me God always created me to be. I didn't know who she was when God first revealed her to me. Who that woman, Harpo? But I thank God for not giving up on me, for not quitting on me, for pushing me even when I didn't want to be pushed, for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself, for reminding me the times that I seem to have forgotten. Release the baggage, release that dead weight so you can soar higher, so you can go from glory to glory and from level to levels. That's how you're going to have bigger levels and better levels, when you release the things that are no longer adding value to your life. Don't be afraid of what you'll see, because no, God is in control. He's going to clean it up. He's going to fix it. He's going to heal it. He's going to get to the root of that situation and uproot it so you don't have to worry about that thing coming back. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to share this, and I will chat with y'all on the next episode. Bye.